For everything good, there must be something bad. And for all the good things that happen in this film, man, there are a lot of things that went poorly. Let's talk about it after the credits. Hey guys, Brent here for Geek fans, and it's that wonderful time of year again where we get to hear a Star Wars fan complain about Star Wars. If you're a subscribed to the channel, you already know I have done so, covering a couple different Disney IPs pertaining to Star Wars, but this time we get to cover George Lucas's The Phantom Menace. And, well, I already talked about what was good about it last week. This week's time to talk about the elephant in the room, and let's just talk about just overall what the fans thought. 6.5 IMDb. Not terrible. But once you get to the Rotten Tomatoes and the Metacritic score, that's where you kind of see where everything goes bad. 51% each. Barely over half of the audience enjoyed this film. And there's many reasons for that, and let's just dive right into it, and let's start off with a big, obvious one that everyone already can think of immediately when you think of the prequels and what was wrong with it. Jar Jar. And while we have since redeemed Ahmed Best fantastically, and I'm very happy we've done so, however, Jar Jar isn't the only one to blame, in my opinion. In my opinion, Jar Jar and the Gungans were both terribly, terribly written character and race. And while bringing up race for Star Wars, you think would bring about a lot of other issues that still need to be properly addressed. However, with the Gungans, I think as far as inclusion goes, this wasn't it, man. When people want certain things represented on screen, I don't think you just pick the worst character traits you could possibly pick, throw them up against a smorgasbord, slap them together in ways that don't make any sense, and hope somehow, someway, people are able to understand this as a sophisticated and intelligent and well thought out race. And the Gungans, this really honestly feels like you just went to Florida and you got stuck in a trailer park forever, and then you had to use them to help liberate you from crocodiles. This is nuts. This made little to no sense that this people was willing to throw themselves away and sacrifice themselves for people that they hated literally throughout the entirety of this film. There was so much to talk about, just the interspecies issues going on, not just the political issues along with this area, but I care as little for the politics involving Star Wars as I care for the politics going on in the world today. It's all corrupt. It's all bad. So as far as this goes, let's not talk about it. And then, as far as representation goes, George, you're telling me you wanted to go an entirely different direction for Sith Lord and you wanted Jar Jar to be the Sith that was pulling all of the strings, which there's plenty of fan theories that make some level of sense and are able to wrap it up succinctly to where, yeah, it's logical. But is it probable and well-liked enough for people to accept it? No, absolutely not. Under zero circumstances would this could have worked out. Ian McDiarmid was the proper choice throughout, and I'm happy he was able to come back and wow us with even more amazing performances on his behalf. However, Ahmed Best, you got stuck with a bad role, and unfortunately, this may be the role you're known for, man. Sorry. And then, on top of that, the child actor. We have to talk about this in particular. Jake Lloyd, Anakin Skywalker. What was the hiring process? What was the casting process? I got no emotion. I got no level of ability to convey what you're feeling. You had a minimal dialogue, as well as your character was simple, and the only time you're able to articulate yourself well is when you're talking to Padme because you have the hots for her. But later on, we come to find out that doesn't really work out the best as far as your articulation of your points. George, he needed to go back to the drawing board on this one, and he needed to have recast, period. And on top of that, he just needed to write a better character. Because again, you failed on your writing for Jar Jar. You failed on your writing for the Gungans as a race. You failed as your writing for Jake Lloyd. And overall, you failed in your writing to give me a conceivable pacing for your film. This film's pacing was all over the place. You start us with a diplomatic mission in space that ends up in this action-packed, heroic, espionage-esque type Star Wars thing. Good. I like that. We like that. It was good, right? Leave the thoughts in the comments below as your opinion to it. That is where you signed off. However, then we get to another slow part, followed by another action-packed part where everyone's running for their lives from the droids, followed by absolutely another slow part. It's up, down. What are we doing? What is this movie? It's just all over the place. Most movies have a succinct and gradual rise up. This one is just a hill ride you're going up and down on with no trajectory. And while we finished very strong with one of my favorite finishes in Star Wars with Darth Maul fighting Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon Jinn, that's not enough. It wasn't enough to make me like this film. The Phantom Menace, in my opinion, is the worst opening movie of a trilogy in Star Wars. And I hate saying that. I hate saying that. However, minimal story, bad writing, terrible conviction on everyone's part, and honestly, you could have probably started in the Clone Wars for everything and things would have been significantly better. But you didn't, and this is what we got. The Phantom Menace, in my opinion, is the worst opening film of a Star Wars trilogy. And this was the first film from Star Wars I was able to see in theaters as it came out. So it hurts me. But that's how I feel about this. What are your guys' thoughts? What are your guys' feelings? Subscribe to the channel if you like the style of content that we at Geek Variants put out for you, the viewer. Got a lot of big things coming down the pipe for you guys, as well as some more content, because next week I'll be covering Star Wars, The Attack of the Clones, and what was good about that film. And trust me, there's more to that film good than you believe is bad. I'll see you guys in the next one.